Hey y'all, happy Sunday. How y'all doing? Yeah, some rain. Okay, I'm about to post this link and we can get started. Y'all be sure to hit that thumbs up on your way in for me, please. It's Aries season. Happy Aries season. Happy solar return to all my Aries out there. Okay. How has this season been treating y'all? How's Aries season going for you? That Aries new moon was intense. I forgot when it was. All I know is folks been smacking each other, and I don't know. You feel new again, and okay. In what way? Aries. Oh, you got a Aries stellium. Okay, so this represents a sense of renewal for you. Hi, Mike. What can Uranus sextile the North Node give? And Aries season has been good. Well, typically Uranus, and of course, it could be modified depending on the signs that we're talking about and the house placement of your North Node. But typically, it could deal with like really special opportunities where you can meet certain people that can place you in a position that could help you cultivate that North Node. If you get what I'm saying, like, being put in a position where, opportunities could be presented to you, and things like that. And a lot of times it does have to do with the people in your life, so by way of like friends and so on and so forth. But it could also even deal with one being I notice a lot of people with Uranus aspects near their North Node, so conjunctions. And of course, the more favorable um, aspects that they are really good at manifesting things into reality for themselves. The trines and the sextiles, or more so the trines, may not always be good at it, just because trines can make a person lazy, but Uranus in aspects to the North Node in general, depending on what's going on, it tends to be really good in terms of like a lot of these people realizing or actualizing a lot of their dreams. And like I said, mainly with that sextile is opportunity. Opportunity. What's up, Tuli? We are just talking about. Well, somebody was asking me about the Uranus sextile in the North Node, but we're talking about Aries season in general. Aries season, and I wanted to look at a few natal charts, um, just because I wanted to do a little cute little mashup real quick. Uh, because y'all might not. I think you know, I'm not gonna be as available as I normally would be. So I just wanted to check in with y'all with a cute little live because I don't know the next time I'm gonna do a video. Hi, Sierra. Oh, thank you, Tyrell. Thank you so much. Griselda Blanco. Or is it Blanca? Griselda Blanca. Blanca. That I know that was the lady who sold the Colombiana woman who was moving that weight. And then she ended up getting killed like as an old lady. That is crazy. So like, okay. So y'all, I don't know if y'all checked out my video or the Sinistry reader that I did on your son and Ari. I mean your son and Taina by way of the Ari Fletcher situation. You know, Ari Fletcher is somebody who I, in a weird way, she's very unlikable, right? She's very, very, very unlikable, but she's also someone who I feel like I can kind of, and maybe I can identify with her a little bit because she represents a woman, um and the type of women that society tends, like black women, that society tends to write off, even despite her privileges, because she does have her load of privileges, including, like, the light skin privilege, the quote unquote pretty privilege. um Even though y'all say she look like Thomas the Train or the Purge mask, but I think overall she does fit like the standard level of like desirability, you know, for a certain mainstream of like community, right? But even with all of those things granted to her, the respect isn't there. And we just kind of know in general that's just how a lot of black men operate, especially the type of men that she goes for. She has a kid with the whole rapper and she's currently dating a rapper. So it's that's just kind of how dealing with men and people in that industry go. But because when you look at the facts for what they are, the truth is she represents, how like there's no perfect victim. No matter what situation or injustice occurs. And when you talk about situations between men and women, when you see a woman that's angry, especially a black woman, right? Because it kind of touches on that trope. When you see a black woman really angry, it's easy to write her off, and it's easy to use bitter or weaponize the word being bitter as an insult. But the truth of the matter is, there are plenty of cases where being bitter is actually very valid. It's a very valid and natural response. Is it a healthy place to live in? Of course not. But it just really shows how black women are, and it doesn't excuse her bad behavior too. So I want to be clear about that. But I feel like it's not like people are seeking to really sympathize or empathize with her or women like her anyway. I look at a lot of comment sections and men are just like, well, F her, and she's just viewed as another standard baby mama. But a lot of black women are though, especially when we're upset about stuff. And if you don't really know the backstory on Ari and Herbo, they had a very toxic relationship on both sides. Once again, there's no perfect victim. Ari has a lot of just really disgusting. I mean, we all have character flaws. Every single one of us does. But Ari is a social influencer, and for you to be so visible and that unlikable, it's like it's kind of crazy to me. But like she got a lot of shit. She's very shallow. You could tell she is catty. I would not want to be friends with nobody like her. Like she's very catty. And her son would be on my south note too. We would probably fight. Like she's annoying. She seems like a very annoying, and she run her mouth a lot. We ain't seen the bitch fight yet. She got a lot of shortcomings, right? They said she put her hands on Herbo. I'm pretty sure she did, and I'm pretty sure he put his hands on her because he's Aries South Node and Aries Moon. I'm telling you about them Aries Moon men. They will box. They will box you, but it could also work in the opposite direction too. That's why I refuse to believe Taina is as innocent, and I touched on this in the video, my pre-recorded video. um I just refuse to believe Taina is as innocent as people try to make her to be. Once again, I think a lot of it is racially motivated, with her being I mean, she could be an Afro Latina, but I mean, you know ethnically, she's ambiguous. She's like, who the fuck really knows what she is, who she is, just by looking at her, right? Latina, whatever the fuck. But I think she has that advantage in a lot of people, 'cause she's so meek and mild and this and that. Okay, okay, okay. And little mama got, I think what her Aries sun conjoined a Saturn. Now that could deal with where she could be under the control of a lot of powerful men, and that definitely represents the abusive, her being raised by abusive men, controlling men, aka, like fat, punching her mama two front teeth out. So, but it could also deal with where she could have some really some qualities about herself where she may not be the nicest person to to deal with all the time. Like, not how we think. So, whatever. Y'all go check out the video. I got deeper into it. And your son needs to Ari needs to be careful with your son too. Because he has a lot of placements of being growing up to be a young adult who could be out of control. Um and that's just it is what it is. If it's not addressed early on. He's gonna be a wild card. You think who brown skin? I don't fully agree with Ari sometimes, but I definitely understand. Oh, I said that to say, and maybe I'm telling on myself, but the full backstory with Ari and Herbo is, of course they had this, really toxic relationship, but they had a baby, and after having the baby, or maybe while she was pregnant, shortly after she delivered, uh he cheated on her, and apparently allegedly they're saying that he was cheating on her with Taina. So putting myself in those shoes, um even in that, and in a combination, so some of it is like biased, but even just objectively, putting myself in those shoes, um I would be like very upset. And then you create a family with the bitch, and you expect me to do what exactly? Like, I mean, yes, I'm gonna move on and live my life, but do you really think? I don't know. Like, I get it. I get it. Ideally we would love to like let's do the right thing for the kids, and I'm not saying that's not the right thing to do. I'm just thinking realistically, especially with a woman like Ari, and that's one thing I will say, because she is a Cancer sun, and she has she's another one of I'm gonna make a video on. I think I have a video on sun and harsh aspects to the moon, but I want to do the opposition specifically, because her being a Cancer sun, Capricorn moon, she's one of those people naturally who's going to have a really difficult time managing her relationships, especially with men. And so she can be the type of person to like cut a person off, but those feelings just don't go away. So, and I think that's what is going on with her, but especially as a Cancer. Cancer as an archetype retains memory. They retain, it could take a very long time, or sometimes, I mean, in terms of unrequited love, Cancer is one of the biggest signs for that. And it's so interesting because I actually have a friend, my best friend, one of my best friends. She dated a guy while we were teenagers, high school, a little bit throughout college, and they broke up. But I think she loved him for years. Like, and she would never really fully admit it because she ended up getting like another boyfriend. But she would like drive past the guy's house. She would have constant dreams about him. You know, she's a Cancer sun, and that's why. And so with Cancer also representing family, motherhood, you decided to lend your womb to a man. You know, and it go left like that, and ain't nothing gonna happen. Like everything, you just gonna get over it. And you do have some people who can process that in certain signs and are better able to process those type of things. And in the long run, it be what it is. Cancer also deals with unconditional love too. So I noticed that when in terms of exes, or breaking up with somebody, it can kind of take those two pathways. So either that person kind of stays in your network, You kind of view them as like, um, somebody you have like unconditional love for. Erica Badu, I think, has Cancer in the seventh house, so it's like they become part of your family. You know what I mean? And you kind of treat them like that, or especially with her Cancer Sun opposing her Capricorn Moon, you cut them off, but memories and nostalgia, things like that, still there. You know what I mean? Um, and of course, with the Sun dealing with the men in our lives, children, like I said, she struggles a lot. She goes back and forth a lot. So I'm not saying it's right to make up stuff or to make his relationship with Taina complicated or try to, do certain things. But I'm gonna say I understand. I can't judge her. I'm gonna put it like that. A lot of people can, get their own opinion and judge because I know, especially, Megan from a few years ago would have been on demons. I would have been a fucking menace. Like, you hear me? And a lot of women don't want to admit that because I think there's some shame in saying that I'm bitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like I said, it's not a good place for you to live. And maybe I connect with her too because I'm a Capricorn North Node. So I understand it being like when things happen to you, and I think she's undergoing a lot of pain, a lot of trauma. It makes you a bitch, and that's what Capricorn. Therein lies the polarity between Cancer and Capricorn. Cancer is very impressionable. It's very attachment based, and a lot of times, what happens is things happen, especially with um, that Capricorn opposition is like that force you to release those attachments, learning hard lessons because of those attachments. And then, you can either become more experienced and wise, and I think that's the person that she needs to be, or you could be bitter and really angry and bitchy about it. And I think that, both are needed. Both of those, they're two sides of the same coin. So I understand. Like I said, I understand because if my BD pulls some shit like that on me, I can't even I didn't gave y'all a couple story times on the type of demon time I was on. So I can't even imagine like oh, she is a Capricorn moon. Now negatively that could also deal with her exploiting her child. Not gonna lie about that. Not saying she's not capable of being a good mother, but that opposition between her Cancer Sun and Capricorn Moon can make a mom kind of exploitive. It could also create issues with work life balance too. So like wanting to be a mom. And let me go ahead and just pull up her chart while I'm in it because I'm talking about it. Um, like, and I'm not saying that, like I said, she can't be a good mom, but I mean, think about the logistics of what she do. She probably be uh, you know, going to appearances and doing all kind of stuff, and that does take you away from your household and your motherly duties. Not saying you can't do it, but y'all get what I mean. That it creates the need to find balance. Anytime two planets are opposing one another, there's a lack of balance involved. um, when is this lady's birthday? Ah, my mama cat moon Capricorn Sun and Moon. Okay. She was strict. Yeah, my mom's a Capricorn Sun. And my mom's a Capricorn Sun, Aries Moon child, and Aries North Node. Tells you everything you need to know. They are very old fashioned for sure. That's why I always say too, even if you have like Capricorn, a lot of Capricorn suns can be, of course, this could be modified based on how your sun is aspected, and what house is placed in, right? But typically, or like if you have Capricorn in the fifth or whatever, They can take a very old fashioned, old school approach to parenting. And yeah, be very straight. Capricorn and Virgo parents can be very militaristic, and Aries parents can be too. Your Cancer Sun, Aries moon, you feel that. Mm. Capricorns really do exploit their children, or will get people. Yep, yep. And that's because Capricorn, even through children, their main quest as an archetype is constantly for either power, fame, status, achievement, especially the ones who live mediocre lives. Excuse me. Those who live mediocre lives themselves could really project those things onto their children. And so, a lot of times they can have kids. And don't get me wrong, like obviously I know my mama loves me, but my mom has always been very um she's had a hard on for measuring me by my accomplishments. And she may not come out right and just say overtly, like, yeah, I don't like when you do A, B, C, and D. But you'll, like, for example, I remember when I started doing astrology, right? When I first started doing astrology professionally, my Capricorn mother didn't give a fuck about that. I don't even really know what that is, right? If it's not tangible, I don't really respect it. And I remember having to take a break and getting like a 9 to 5. And when I got the 9 to 5, oh, she bragged about it. Like the things that they feel are respectable or puts them in a position. You see what I'm saying? Um, that kind of thing. And then you have the ones who really work their children. My mama never really worked me. She's tried to control me, but she ain't never really tried to like work me. Um, and hence that's where my Dark Side of Capricorn Mother series derived from. What Tina knows, you got what's her name? Evelyn Braxton. Don't get me started on Evelyn. Okay. Rest in peace, Tracy. But Evelyn, she cut from the same cloth. And Aaliyah's mama. They all three are Capricorn mothers, and they've had very successful children. But when you look at like a Capricorn mother's love is conditional. That's the best way to describe it because what its polarity of Cancer, right? As I just mentioned, deals with unconditional love. With Capricorn, it's very conditional, and it sounds really fucked up because they're your parents. Like they're. I guarantee you, if you have a Capricorn mom or dad, you know how people will be like, "Oh, well, there's nothing that you can do to make me stop loving you." There is absolutely something that you can do to, or at least for them to, because Capricorn deals with punishment, and my mom does that really big too. If you don't do what they want you to do, or they're gonna punish you. Some it can be overt, especially as children. That's why they deal with disciplinary. A lot of them are old school disciplinarians. But once they have adult children, they'll find other ways. My mama is a master at the silent treatment. That's very Capricorn. My mama will like not straight up not, but technically with me being a Capricorn North Node, it I needed that in a weird way. Like my soul, they say we choose our parents before we get, before we are here. And that's why that's why God put me in her uterus and I came out her coochie. Cause that God knew like that's just something that I'm gonna need as a person to cultivate in my relationships with other people. My ability to detach. Like I said, that Capricorn detachment, letting go. So I said all this to say to just wrap it right back around Ari. I understand energetically. When I looked at her chart, I kind of understood a little bit more. I don't really 100% condone the ideas of causing chaos in other people's households and weaponizing your children, but at least she ain't beat her up. And I mean, honestly, if I was thinking about being a man, it's the way she did it too. Like you did it while that girl was pregnant. Like in other words, basically, because they said he was cheating on her while she was pregnant. And I'm gonna be honest, Petty Megan is like, if I couldn't enjoy my pregnancy, ain't nobody enjoying their pregnancy. I was getting cheated on during my pregnancy, bitch. You're not gonna have a stress free pregnancy. I was stressing. So why do I care about your health? You didn't care about my health. I was postpartum when you start fucking my nigga. You know what I mean? Same thing with him. Every again and again and again. I'm gonna fuck with your household, and I'm gonna do whatever I gotta do like to do that. I don't give a fuck. Fuck you. Look at what you put me through. And once again, that's that Capricorn punishment. Like you're gonna like it's inevitable. That's why I said I can't. Everybody's like, "Oh my god, she's so wrong," and she may be, but I just sit in the corner and I just shut the fuck up because I can't. She played dirty, and old Megan like applauds that is with the campaign. But it's about, you don't hurt me and then tell me how hurt not like that's my thing. Like black women, we're supposed to take pain and we're supposed to even black people in general take the high road and turn the other cheek and oh it didn't work out so like da 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 da. And theoretically, yes. Like I said, I don't think it's healthy. You don't deserve to live in that space your whole life. But if you want to be upset. And I'ma own it. The only thing I didn't agree with is where she was like, I'm not better, but I need to be what I'm better for. And maybe because she in a whole new relationship, so there's that. But, okay, so what if I am bitter? Like people use that to dismiss people. Like that's not really the read you thought it was. Because if I'm bitter, that means somebody hurt me. So why are we not addressing the person who actually hurt me? Hmm. And them quiet bitches, them the bitches you be having to watch. And so I think people once again have typecasted Ari, and she don't help because, like I said, she is very unlikable. And it's just I think this is just one of the situations where people automatically write her off because she is more vocal and visible with her fuck shit and her shortcomings. But you know, I don't think Taina is a saint either. So, like I said, as far as I feel, I think Taina and G Herbo they deserve that. Anything that Ari brings upon them, any hellfire that she rains down, they brought that upon themselves, just sheer by way of the foundation of their relationship. You start your relationship in some fuck shit like that, you don't think it's gonna be static? You think you finna thrive and like have peaceful pregnancies and a wonderful co-parenting situation? Like I'm all for co-parenting, but y'all gotta set it up that way. You don't expect me to be the bigger person when your ass couldn't even be the bigger person and let me know that you didn't want the relationship or that you're cheating. Shit. So that's what you get. And on your birthday too. Shout out G Herbo. Been bumping his music since middle school. So you like listening to him rap off beat. Karma is real. Caps are about usefulness. It's a matter of value. Yep. To a certain degree, yep. Capricorns and Tauruses. You really think G Herbo got herpes or Ari was now she kind of made herself look goofy with that one. You never really go there when you start talking about diseases when you on bad terms with a nigga because naturally people gonna look at it like, bitch, don't you got that too then? That's what I was thinking, like, oh, that's why he got herpes. And y'all be fucking, so like you got it too? Yeah, no, yeah, see? ¿Qué pasa? Cause I was a little confused. I mean, let's pull up G Herbo's chart and see if he has anything that could be a potential indicator of the Herpiana allegedly. Should I believe due to the fact he's a Libra? I believe that someone he said the jar-headed Puerto Rican doesn't like him. The children. Did you just call this lady I cannot with you. I'm not playing with you. Give me your phone. Give me your phone. Something about Taina or whoever her, her name is spelled don't sit right with me. What is up with y'all? Y'all is crazy. Y'all are gonna crucify me for this, but I think Taina and Fabulous had a very inappropriate relationship. Interesting. I would like to explore that. I would like to explore that. That was weirdly hyper focused on her as a child. And that comes from the exotical thing too. And one thing I will say about racially ambiguous women and unfortunately girls and children, they are fetishized. Even if these men like they are their own, like a lot of black men be fetishizing their own natural born daughter. So I can only imagine somebody else's daughter. You see what I'm saying? Like I think about YG when he was talking about, oh yeah, at a fucking funeral, Nipsey Hussle's funeral. Well, our light skinned daughters, we got some like, oh, okay. That's when I don't wish death on nobody, but that's when I stopped. Like, it was a little tear welling in my eye. I'm like, oh, rest in peace, Nipsey. I'm like, Nipsey was a colorist. It's a lot of niggas in Chicago. I mean, Chicago too, baby, but and Cali are very color struck. You know, you're too short to the world and blue face. But when you look at them, they don't be no prizes. So I don't really be that upset. Cause y'all are trash and very bottom of the barrel men, not quality at all. But Zoe Kravitz, all she had to do was say one bad thing about Will, and they came for her top. They came for her top. I'm like, she had a sexual relationship with, or she was hitting on Jaden Smith, and I realized, I'm like, oh, okay, and what's so crazy about it? Me and her have the same sun, moon, and rising. And I don't know any other celebrity that I share the same sun, moon, and rising. But I will say, for some people, Aquarius in the fifth house, in tandem with the other things she had going on, because she had other aspects, and I would have to go take a look at it, and I can't. That like I'm like I don't know. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it could have been some truth to that. And they were talking about her dad, fucking with 16-year-olds and all kind of shit. And I was just like, the fifth house does deal with the father too. Aquarius in the fifth house, having a pervy daddy. Like, I don't know. I was just like, sheesh. I'm like, is this that's you, sis? That's what you be on? Mm. Share my screen. But I will say, and that kind of ties back to that Libra ascendant. People be I noticed a lot of Libra placements too, just in general. Like even when it came to her comments, and then people started talking about how she don't like black people, I guess. But a lot of Libra ascendants or people with Libra placements can be very unpleasant people. Like, they can just seem like it on the surface, but when you really get to know them, they'll say, like they can be very unpleasant people. I don't know what I don't know. I'm gonna do this one. And she kind of got on my nerves too, because she was another one of them biracial. Well, is she really biracial? Because her dad is biracial. But you get what I'm saying, like those racially ambiguous, multiracial. She could pass for being multiracial herself. Girls who be representing black women on television. I don't really like that. Don't like that. They say Jaden wrote a song about her. Yeah, y'all is wilding. Like, girl, why is you hanging out with kids, mama? Yep, she's a Sag Sun, Virgo Moon, Libra Rising. I'm like, she is my like across the board. But the way she got a lot of her aspects, because she was born like what, maybe 2 3 years before me or something like that. She's like 2 3 years older than me. She got some, I don't know, she got some other stuff going on. Hi, Temperance. Thank you for the super chat. I'm so glad you back. I was wondering where you been, and yeah, Libra can be wishy washy and double dealers. Well, I have been working. I just been just doing a lot of work, just trying to get stuff in order. So I kind of had to, like I said, reprioritize. I met her personally. She seemed cool, but now, and that's another thing too. Mutables, we can be real cool too. We can be real. Mutables can be real cool. Um, but I don't know. You gotta just watch who you dealing with, I guess, because that was weird. That was some weirdo shit. I met her. Oh, I read that already. Facts. Y'all gonna start putting boho light skins with dread. Okay, it exactly on the pedestal. Got to head out blessings to you in the chat. Bye, Dimitri. Her and Yara stay. Yes, they stay playing Black Rose. I said, oh, okay. See on Doja Cat, I did a Doja Cat reading before, like a couple times, like a whole live stream. Go and look at the body language of the photos of them together. There was a picture of her when she was a preteen sitting on his lap. Hey, Flower. Do a Kendrick Lamar reading? Sure. I can eventually. I'll look into it. Not my guy, you're nuts. Okay, Dame Dash. I did a reading on Dame Dash. He a Taurus. That's why he got all them money problems and child support issues, especially with the nodes transit the North Node being in Taurus. But that may help him financially. Or has he filed for bankruptcy? Because I could see that happening. Taurus. Here's the thing: Taurus is good for money, but Taurus is also stingy. So in a lot of Taurus sons, especially because Sun deals with our children, you see this with people with Taurus in the fifth house, at the relate, or even the seventh house. And of course, the second house too, and the eighth house. But if the relationship don't work out, yeah, like y'all got kids, yeah, it's gonna be some custody battles. They may be the types that want to take their shit back. If you with a dominant Taurus, when you with them, especially sons, they'll spoil you for sure. But when y'all not together no more, that shit is dead. That shit is dead. And if they have like crazy aspects to their son, a lot of Tauruses can have illegitimate children. It's just So yeah, issues with custody, child support, all that could very well be a thing. Yep, Taurus Sun, Leo Moon. Yeah, be careful. Well, remember, okay, what Black China did to Rob cleaned him. Yeah, we gonna look at Black China's chart next. She a Taurus, yes, and you see she going through them custody battles, or it's not really a custody battle. She was trying to insinuate about, and I believe it, that she had to give up some of her cars and whatever. But it's like, all right, girl, read the room, and we find out your ass got both your kids one day out the week. Now, don't get me wrong. I think once again, my opinion may be a little unpopular in the sense that I do feel like people are harder on women. Because it's a lot of niggas, like a lot of y'all who laughing at her, especially niggas. Do we need to talk about how you only get your kids on the weekends? So she's a weekend parent, just like a lot of these niggas. But when a nigga be a weekend parent, y'all want to be like, oh, he's not a deadbeat. He's trying. He's there. At least he's there. He could have walked away. If you ask me, a day and a half, 2 days is not sufficient time to spend with your child, whether you're a man or a woman. But I do have a little bit of a soft spot or a flexibility for women, especially if you have mental health issues, if you have other things that could, because let's be very clear. I'm kind of glad there's a reason why she don't have them kids the way she do, or the way most people think a woman should, why she's not the primary custodial parent. Black China got problems. She has mental health issues, which are running concurrent with like drug addiction problems. So allegedly, like I said, we can get into her chart next. Why am I sharing Michelle's chart and we supposed to be talking about who was we talking about? Herbo. I'm wilding. Hold on, y'all. Her toxic ass mom. Exactly. I mean, I think it's environment, but it's also like what do they say, nature or nurture? I do think it's the way she was nurtured, but I also think it's nature. I think that she has some real serious, like her. I think Tokyo Tony got mental issues, mental health. Y'all don't think something wrong with her mentally? Like, be for real. And I'm not saying it as an excuse. We don't use mental illness as excuses. It just helps explain the trigger. Because I mean, as an adult, it's your responsibility to take care of those things, especially if you're a mother or if you got people dependent on you. It just is what it is. You're expected to do what needs to be done so that you can get those things in order. And that's the work that uh, Tokyo Tony wasn't willing to do. And unfortunately, due to generational curses, is not the type of work that China is willing to do. And you can only pray for Dream. Women like that, I'm not gonna say don't need daughters, and I'm not, because I also don't want to contribute to the stereotype that you need to put more effort into raising your daughters and not your sons, because that's not true. It's just a different type of energy that is called on, and as a woman, you just got to be really careful. You got to be careful with how you treat yourself and the type of woman that you present yourself to be, because you have a daughter too. And that, I mean, it doesn't mean you have to be a modest woman at all. It just means you need to be able to stand on something. And Black China can't really stand on nothing because something wrong with her. She twists some is something she be tweaking. Something is really wrong with her. So what can you say? All the fixed signs going through it. I'm a Taurus moon. I'm very stubborn, but I'm too giving to be stingy. What was the situation with the girl in the hotel room? Did you do I have done Kanye's chart too. She has money for a car. She might as well pay for therapy. Well, they say that I don't know. Somebody was in a hotel room, some white girl and her friend, and they didn't explicitly say that they was doing snow cane, snow plane. You know what I'm saying? Boogle sugar. But it was kind of like people kind of inferred it like, oh, they were partying, quote unquote, with Blac Chyna, and then for whatever reason, the girl went. Y'all know when people get high and drunk, child, people start arguing about stupid shit, and it probably spiraled out of control, and then the white girl got scared. I don't trust shit involving white bitches. I just don't. I just don't. Like when white women cry, because I saw it was a video that they recorded where the white girl was just like, why is she yelling at me, and why does she? I was just like, ooh, don't nothing make me madder than white women crying. That shit, ooh, if you want to get me mad, be a white bitch in front of my face and cry. I don't care what you. It could be a valid reason. I think it's a genetic response from my ancestors. Like it's a trauma. It's a DNA, like a trauma response that's encoded in my DNA. Bitch, I'll be ready to slap the shit out your ass. You start crying for the bitch. I'm gonna give your ass something to cry about. What the fuck is you crying for? Trying to weaponize them tears. Bitch, I know what you doing. Oh, girl. Skiing, yes, skiing the snow slopes and y'all. That's what them white girls be on too. So that's probably exactly allegedly, theoretically. I can see them. I can see that scenario. And Black China like that chase after white bitches too. Hence the whole Kardashian thing, even before Rob. I guess wanted to escape the box of being like a hood girl from DC. So she started chasing after them, running after them white bitches. I'm like, you ain't learned your lesson yet. Yeah, she from DC. You could tell they from the like DC DMV area. The Tokyo Tony talk like it. She probably did hang with Jeffree Star. I think so. See what I mean? But when they want to fuck you over, they gonna fuck you over. So, people in general fuck people over. But I'm just saying, I'm from Baltimore. Don't mix us in that shit. We are not a. Well, people not refer to that area as the DMV area? Don't take it up with me. Look, I didn't make the rules. I'm just saying, stating the way that it's referred to. Like DC is a part of that DMV area. I didn't know Baltimore was a part of that too. Didn't know that. Oh, thank you, King Blitz. Thank you for the super chat, babes. Too many party cocktails. I think Meg the Stallion do. Allegedly, y'all. Allegedly. Allegedly. And them Leos, when Leos party, they party, and they are the worst. Like when it comes to substances, Leos and Virgos, I would say. Um, Gemini's too. I would say fuck it. I'm gonna say all mutables. I'm gonna say all mutables. In addition to Leo, when they can be really unhinged, um, like party animals. Leo rules the fifth house, and that does deal with recreation activity. So I mean, that could be anything from sports to sex to romance to dating to partying, quite literally. And especially if they drink a lot, like they have the tendency to take it too far, or they could just be really obnoxious. I told y'all about the girl that I used to be friends with, the dark side of Leo, who really she embodied my uh Chiron and Leo, like she activated it. Like she would just get on my fucking nerves in hindsight, but she was like a raging alcoholic. And some people are alcoholics and they're more passable than others. When I mean, you think about college, a lot of folks is walking, alcoholics because life is one big party in college, depending on the type of person you are and who you hang out with. And that's kind of what it was for a lot of us. But for Leo placements, it may be a lot more noticeable because these may be like she would do stuff like get sloppy high or drunk and just I don't know, be belligerent. Like they're very belligerent. Like take all their clothes off. Right? That's very Leo. They love to be naked or they love to, anything for attention. Or they also be the types that exaggerate about like how drunk they are. They'll probably act drunker than they really are. Those types. Oh, I'm so tipsy. I'm so fucked up, girl. I'm fucked up, girl. Girl, I'm fucked up, girl. What? Oh, my head, my face, my head in my face. And I could see Meg the Stallion, and she has her sun, or excuse me, her moon. She's a Leo moon. She got that moon in conjunction to Mars. Oh yeah, that's why they say she be fighting every time she gets drunk. She be aggressive as hell. Oh yeah. Yeah, Aquarius sun, Leo moon, Taurus rising. hmm What dark side of Leo, girl, moon side? Baltimore is a DMV. Yeah, that's what I said. Baltimore does not claim the DMV though. We are in Maryland. It's a personal thing. You the only person I heard who say that. That might just be you. I think you didn't. I don't know if you ain't attend the meeting, but like the rest of your congregation say otherwise. You the only one who's saying it's not. But we don't claim the DMV strictly for shit like that. I'm serious. A lot of Baltimore City folks hate that. I hate how y'all talk. That's what I hate. Since we talking about hate, y'all accent really it drives me crazy. Not in a good way. I be ready to like pull my eyebrows off. I'll be ready to snatch the hairs off my pussy just listening to y'all. Ew, 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 but a ew, ew, and put the ew to get to bit two shoe. I'm like, oh wow, like stop talking, please. YouTube. I'm like, that is like the most unnecessary accent. I don't even know how that happened. Like that's wild. Like of all of the regional different like accents and dialects, like that shit really it blows me. Yeah, make you hilarious. I'm just being honest. I tell the truth. We can't help what the fuck we sound like. I was like, well, Jessica hilarious. That's why I could never really get into her. That was a little bit the only person who I can tolerate listening to from Baltimore is Hot Damn I Rock. Y'all know if you a OG YouTuber, you know Hot Damn I Rock. He took a really long hiatus. He had like a lot of real fucked up shit happen to him. Like his best friend died. I think his dog died. He went through some, but his content has evolved over time. But he started off doing like parody skits and all kinds of stuff. He a Virgo too. That's why I connect with him. Like I really, you could just tell a Virgo man. You could just tell. But I was like, okay, like I can deal with you. The others, Virgos ain't shit. What's wrong with you? It just depends on what kind. Once again, I'm biased because I'm a Virgo moon. So naturally, I'm always gonna find Virgos personable. The moon for you represents something that's really familiar. So every time I meet a Virgo, like that's just how it would be. I create close, like I'll be really close. I get really close to Virgos a lot, especially in the men, like the men, especially because my sun is squaring my moon, so my Sag sun is squaring my moon, so I run into a lot of Virgo men. But the issue is like the things that draw me to them be the things that ultimately end up getting in the way because my sun is squaring my moon. So it'd be like I really like them, but I like to deal with them on my terms. But a lot of Virgos are very insecure and can thrive off of like very defective relationships. They can be in very unhappy relationships. And I don't like that. Virgo Venuses are a no. I think that's the worst Virgo placement. I disagree. I don't think it's the worst. I just, like I said, I think it depends on the person and, how you choose to use that energy. Virgos ain't shit, depending, because I have a lot of friends that y'all got to stop coming for my peoples. But the dark side of Virgos are very annoying. Like they could be real crazy, very very crazy. And I would say this will be applicable to like Virgo sun, moons, um, and Mars placements for sure. Especially Virgo. Ooh, a Virgo Mars motherfucker is a little off. You a little off. And Ari Fletcher, she has her Mars in Virgo. You can already tell that Mars. Oh, and then that Mars Cancer combo together. Ugh. Like I said, I would hate to be a nigga with her. Like the sex probably good, but outside of that, she the type like that'll bring up old shit, whatever. But that's still, niggas know what they be dealing with, so I don't feel sorry. My mom, yes, her Mars and Virgo. How should I deal with this Venus opposition coming up? Well, I mean, it just depends on an individual level. It depends on where it's going to be placed for you in general. Venus, in opposition to what is Venus supposed to be opposing? Like, what is Venus opposing? I haven't been keeping up with the transits. I love you too, be rich. Natal Venus and Virgo. Sister, Virgo Mars clean free. Okay, let me see. Cause I always get lost in the chat with y'all and look up and don't be ain't put up Nan chart. So G Herbo was born on October 8th, 1995. So let me go ahead and Herbo. I always say G Herbo is not attractive. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. I do not understand the hype. Not even a little bit. Okay. Oh, I shared the wrong screen. Not this one. I'll try to see the other one. Okay. So as you can see, G Herbo was born October 8th, 1995 in Chicago. Making him a Libra, of course, he's a Libra, a hardcore Libra. He's a Libra sun. He has that Libra Venus conjoined to his North Node. That right there, in and of itself, also just kind of maximizes the issues that he has with women. Just in this lifetime, he has to learn how to better understand women, how to better understand the opposite sex. So a lot of times these are people who go through because naturally he could be a very selfish person. Um, and I also think he was probably raised by a mother who was kind of like everything to him. You know what I mean? Or a mom who kind of instilled some of those qualities in him as well, because he has that sun moon opposition, and that also deals with, and I mean, that could quite literally point to like domestic violence situations on both ends. Um, where it's just, things like compromise. Once again, balance in relationships is always off. He gives me like he's somebody who's very naturally inconsiderate. And what I think is maybe, well, maybe even not so much because Taina could definitely be representative of his Aries moon because she's an Aries sun. But I was going to say, like, maybe Taina brought out the side of him where, like she helped him evolve more into that North Node. And that's being romantic, being whatever, being understanding, accommodating, compromising, just being a better partner. There a lot of Libra North Nodes are here to master partnership, whether it be in a relationship, marriage. A lot of times it can happen like that, especially if Venus can join the North Node. But it could also even be friendship. But I don't know. I think she triggers a lot of his South Node as well. And he gives me somebody who likes to have his way, especially with women. And Ari's not really built like that. He also has his moon, the Aries moon square Neptune. That could also deal with where he's sneaky. I see where he was still also carrying on that relationship with Ari, even while he was still with Taina. Interesting. Oh, but the question was about him having the herpaderp. He does have that Scorpio Mars. So as an Aries South Node, he's very hypersexual. Okay. Even with that Aries moon. So you could look at that as him being very sexually attracted to women or somebody who could kind of, I mean, think what they, Aries represents the head, but they may think with the other head too. With Mars and Scorpio, because Scorpio deals with your penis, dick. So even with that being said, that could come with some drawbacks. Like, Scorpio also rules infection and especially conjoined to Pluto. So I mean, possibly. He also has Venus squaring Uranus, so naturally he may not even have the most respect for women. That's an aspect that can lead to a man objectifying women or just not being loyal. Like these are people who are only, which also makes sense too, because there's an Aries South Node. I mean, Aries a lot of times are only loyal to themselves, or they can be very selfish. You know, they get their needs met, but they're not always concerned about meeting other people's needs. So let's take a look at y'all comments real quick. Thank you, self made, for the super chat. A chart on Tokyo. Tony, I did. Have you had an interest in study Vedic astrology? Lastly, that would be Taurus at the 29th degree of opposing Pluto in the fourth house would indicate. Oh, what planet? You said Taurus at the 29th degree. And to answer your initial questions, I mean, yeah, but I don't really find, I don't have anything against Vedic astrology, but I don't think it's meant for everyday use. I think it's more useful for like past life stuff. So it's just not, it's not my thing, simply put. So like, hmm, interesting. I would think you would have a complicated relationship with Aries because you know Scorpio and Aries are quincunx one another. That could deal with like an entanglement. Have you had your fair share of entanglements with Aries? Cancer Mercury people allow their emotions or their biases to cloud their rational thought, but they can be very creative people. They have excellent memory. You sound like a man today. Bitch, your mama sound like a man today. The fuck that's supposed to mean? You finna get blocked. I'm gonna be a real nigga and block your ass today. May you a Scorpio Mars. What's your opinion on Aries placements? I think Aries, and I'm once again my bias shows because I got Aries in my seventh house. So I'm naturally drawn towards Aries placements, but just um as far as the archetype, Aries is very, it just depends on what you want and what you got going on. Because on the upside, and I got an Aries declassified video for my Patreon members coming up. But Aries is very physical, very hands-on, very um on a positive octave. They can be very assertive, courageous, um also very original too, and very unless they have you know, like for instance like an Aries sun, or somebody with their Mars and Aries but it's like squaring Neptune or some shit, they may be more insecure, especially as a man. But for the most part, they're very certain about who they are, and they can be very interesting people, very fun people, also very passionate, very exciting. But they can also be obviously the magic, the word, the most common word that I hear used with the dark sided polarity would be like, you know, impulsive, or once again self-centered, or they could also just be really oppositional, very inconsiderate, obviously violent or just real conflict driven. They can be big babies too on the low. Big babies, people who don't really do well with commitment. She be crying at every live stream on how ugly and fat but trying to talk shit. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, that's why I had to go ahead and put her on ice, bro. Like, bitch, you got a lot of nerve. I'm not even gonna go back and forth with you today. Cause next time she gonna be in the chat trying to slit her wrist. She just be wanting to be seen, or whoever the fuck they is be wanting to be seen and counted in her. And you deserve to be. Just not here. Cause I don't give a fuck. Like I said, this transit of sun is in my seventh house, baby. I'm making enemies and burning bridges. I have Aries sun, Black Moon Lilith in Aries. You got Mercury. Oh, Mercury is in air. Transit Mercury is in Aries. Let me pull up the transiting planets. No, now April 3rd. Da, 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 da. Like I said, I ain't been looking at the transiting planets in a minute. Yeah. So you got transiting Sun conjoining Mercury. Oh yeah, that's why. In my seventh house, that's why. That's why. I've been very short tempered. Like my patience is very short. That's also very Aries. Patience very short. You know, and we can join the Chiron as well. So all you Aries, all my Aries placements, they don't listen either. Especially if with Mercury and Aries, they don't take constructive criticism or nothing, or nothing. They can be actually very closed minded. Interestingly enough, you love that about Aries. Come on, Aries rising. Your birthday is Tuesday. Aries sun and moon. Mars in Aquarius. Wow. Happy solar return. Do you have issues with like your friendship groups? Keeping and maintaining the same group of friends? Is that a problem for you? Oh, Aries sun and Taurus moon. Or do you attract unavailable men? Draconic astrology more so speaks to like they say it paints a picture of like your higher self. So it's kind of to be taken with a grain of salt, but it is very interesting to me. It's more so it differs from your natal chart in that your natal chart is representative, like it's your finger, your cosmic fingerprint, like in this time, like here now, right now. But they say that draconic astrology kind of describes the layout of your soul. I guess if external factors and things like that didn't come into play. And in some cases, I know that it also has a lot to do with past life conditioning as well. Hold on, let me plug my shit up for it die. Like for example, in draconic astrology, I'm an Aquarius sun, Scorpio moon, and it could intersect with the energy in your chart as well. And I can kind of see it for me personally. For me, so it's just up to you. I'll do a video on progress charts, but progress charts more so, as their name implies, kind of speak to the phases and the stages of development that we go through. I would like to say. more so than a transit would be like your forecast, right? Like what can you expect? What energy signatures are in the air that you can expect? And a lot of times that can involve external events as well. And but in your progress chart, it speaks to how a lot of your personality archetype has evolved and what that means for you. Do my Cancer Sun and Pisces rising balance out my Aries moon? Mm, do you have? I thought you was a Cancer Mars too, or am I tripping? But that Cancer Sun and Aries moon can be problematic. That could be very conflicting because that could also complicate your relationship with women, not to mention your family as well. I like Aries just to follow through. You're an Aries North Node. That's why you feel the need to protect other people, and that's good. Okay, you're Aries Sun in Draconic astrology. Will you do a declassify for all signs? Yes, I will. That is the aim. Aries Sun and Moon. Ooh. What are your thoughts on the Mars Saturn conjunction tomorrow? So this conjunction will be occurring in the sign of Aquarius alongside that Venus and Aquarius. There could be a lot of just on an international level, a lot of surveillance and a lot of attention placed on um, internet surveillance. But it could also even deal with where uh, you know, people could feel deprived of something or where a lot of attention or focus is going to be redirected towards um, overcoming some type of unfairness, especially as it pertains to like the government. I think collectively we'll probably see this play out on a governmental level. A lot of people getting their tax returns during this time too, especially with Venus in conjunction to Saturn. Well, it's not quite conjoined, but with your Mars in conjunction to Saturn and Aquarius, maybe a lot of people thinking about that. A lot anytime Mars is in conjunction or aspect to Saturn, sometimes it does force you to, especially in a sign like Aquarius, it forces you to re-examine parts of your life where you feel like you've been repressed or oppressed. It could be some glitches with the internet. Y'all know how like or social media, y'all know how like Twitter or some shit shut down or Instagram, people can't get on Instagram or whatever the case may be. What's worse, Pisces Mars or Cancer Mars? Uh, for me, it's the Cancer. It's the Cancer Mars. Yeah, at least if your Mars is in Pisces, that can be kind of dangerous too. But I would want you to be the Pisces Mars individual who, like, you could just use that for the greater good, because at least sometimes they could have a really soft spot, or they could be healers and servants, or people who like they can really have they can really want the best for people, or be really well intentioned. That doesn't mean the execution is gonna be okay. But I mean, if I just had to deal with anybody, maybe I would say the Pisces Mars. Even though, like, I can kind of do without that too. And it also, once again, just depends on what you got going on too. Cause I gotta stay away from Cancer dominance, especially Mars placements. Cause all they would do is trigger me, and we would trigger each other. And next thing you know, it's violence. I choose violence. You want the best for others. Capricorn Mars, I can't stand Mars and Cancer people. Cardi B at Cancer Mars, just annoying. They take everything so personally. They're so defensive. They lack emotional maturity. You know, JT is too. It's something that it makes them come off so, I don't know. I can't find the right word for it in this moment. Uh huh. Oh, you was adopted within the family. What do you think of Zoe Kravitz? People call her beautiful, but I can't see it. Does her chart show fame? I would have to look at it. Like I said, she is a Libra ascendant, so that is the standard, especially astrologically speaking, placement of somebody who could be viewed as very physically attractive. Though these gas, I'm gonna be real, y'all. I don't be looking. I mean, I look at the prices, but it's just like I don't even stress myself out because I know. I mean, I gotta get gas, so I just be like, oh, all right. All water signs can be real sneaky, emotionally immature. Yes, they don't know how to handle things. When they feel it, they act on it. They don't know how to handle, especially being uncomfortable. The people, places, and things that make them uncomfortable, they don't know how to handle it. And I think for Cardi, her Cancer Mars is squaring her Aries moon. The moon also deals with the public. So once again, like, it's why she takes things so personal. She's always clapping back. And then on top of that, she got that Libra sun, Aries moon opposition. Like, like, once again, taking bitches to court like a true Libra sun, fighting bitches on the street, catching court cases. She embodies that, like, Libra Aries polarity all day, but her Cancer Mars just it doesn't help at all. That's also why, like, she gets so upset. Like, these are the type of women who will even attack other women. Now, to be fair, it could deal with, like, women being jealous of her too. Working environments where she could be surrounded by real catty women, but also where she could be catty too. She could be attacking women, and where she's so protective of her family and her motherhood, which I'm not saying she can't be, but I remember a time on these internet streets when you was talking about people dead kids. But in the minute somebody say something about your child, you be ready to fight. She one of them type of bitches. And it also deals with her gang connections too. That Cancer Mars. Of course, not all Cancer Mars placements are gang members, but a lot of them can be into it. Same thing with Chris Brown. His Mars is in Cancer, and that nigga became a fucking Pyru at 28. Mutual reception on a chart. Yes. Yes. And mutual receptions, I mean, sometimes they can be good, but it also kind of just it fires the flame, pun intended. In terms of, like I said, her just being somebody with a very difficult personality. Some people were raised off of love, and some people were raised off of survival. That Aries moon squaring her Cancer Mars shows that she was raised off of survival. And you always got to be careful with people like that. I don't care how cool they are. And that's where that Libra moon comes into play, because she, oh, all relatable, but she her son's at the 18th degree. And 18 people, I don't care. Fabulous is another 18-degree person. Dr. Dre, I think, is an 18th degree person. I could be wrong. Um, but they can be really nasty people. And I will never forget when she first started blowing up. This was like maybe 2017. She went live and was like, I don't know why I deserve all these blessings. Like, I don't know what I did to deserve these blessings. Like, I'm not even really that good of a person. She knew she wasn't even that good of a person. And don't get me wrong, everybody is everything. Like, nobody is all good or all bad. That's not kind of what I'm getting at. Most people as humans, and we all have our character flaws, we have our redeeming qualities, but all that considered, for you to be like, damn, like, I don't even know why this good shit be happening to me, because I'm really a fucked up person, low key. Like, if a person admit that, I believe you. If you tell me you a fucked up person, I believe you. And everything you do, I judge it from that standpoint. She's like, oh, Cardi B, she's so this and that and this and that. I'm like, even with the Tasha, yeah, Tasha K was dead wrong. Like, if you, that's just a technicality. You fouled out if you made a definitive claim and you knew it wasn't true. That's on Tasha. Wrong is wrong, but two truths can coexist at the same time. Cardi B is full of shit too. And I hated that Tasha K lost, because it kind of solidified Cardi being like this victim. Like, bitch, you was not no victim. You know what I'm saying? Maybe in this particular case, but like, oh, poor Cardi. She's just trying to exist as a mother, and a what you call it, and the world attacks her for no reason. And wompty 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 wompty. And it's interesting to me how people pick and choose who to extend grace and sympathy towards. You know, it's just really interesting to me. Once again, Latina, but if she was black, it's a lot of black women, a lot of black artists who are, a little cuckoo for cocoa puffs, but they're actually really talented, and we throw them away. But she represents black womanhood. And don't get me started on my Cardi B tangent. I'm like, girl, skip to my loo. Everything I do, bitches want to do it too. Like, between her and Nicki is annoying, and I'm not even a barb. It's just she's just annoying. And Cardi B support, like the Barty gang, is kind of annoying too, because they all these standums are annoying in general. But I just be like, Cardi was bound to win that case, but I don't feel bad for her in terms of I mean, she did what she was supposed to do. You played your role. Like I said, she get that Aries moon Libra sun opposition. These people are really tough fighters, and they're determined to, overcome, or even in some cases one up people. And Libras are not above using the court system to do that. So yeah, like I can see her throwing. I mean, she just did what she did what she did. And I tell y'all, go check out my video that I did. I did actually a Sinister reading on Tasha and Cardi, so it makes sense, But I think Tasha K has her Mars in Libra, and it's opposing Cardi's, or it's conjoined the Cardi Sun, so that could deal. That's another thing that deals with them fighting it out in court and attacking each other, but whatever. Barty Gang act like they buy her music. I wish Cardi would retire from music. I've seen right there, y'all. So what's her verse on that Summer Walker song, "Unnecessary" or what? Was it unnecessary or what? I was like, bro, if this ain't the most unnecessary, like, I just wanna be what you gonna need. I feel like they be plugging her into, like, you don't have that Nicki pull. You see what I'm saying? You don't have Nicki Minaj can be a bomb ass, even though you could say the pinnacle of her career has come and gone. She could still rest her hat on being a really good feature artist. If Nicki Minaj is on the feature, she gonna flip it, smack it, rub it down. She gonna do what needs to be done. Cardi B may have some good songs. There may be some good. I mean, I can't think of none off the top of my head, just being honest. But there could be some decent songs that Cardi has featured on. But she's not that girl to like come and do a feature and it just be you knock it out the park. And like every song, it be like, oh yes, like Cardi, this is what we needed. Even on Wild Side, I'm like, they just it just be like insert Cardi. Like I don't know, a remix that had nothing to do with her. Here she come. Like I'm like, okay, that's what we needed. I don't ever listen to a song and be like, oh, I feel like a Cardi feature would be nice. But it hasn't happened to me yet. So when they be doing it, it be kind of wild to me. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, like Claire. Trey, and away. I don't know. It's just I don't know. Not to say it can't be enjoyed. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. But it's not really my cup of tea. And I just think she is one of those people. Not to say that she didn't have her own, because once again, more than one thing could be true at once. It's not to say that she did not have her own, uh, like a support team, a following. What I'm saying, an active following. She had all of those things, but a part of her success was contingent on being the major follow up female rapper after Nicki. So a lot of people were betting on her in efforts to make a statement about Nicki Minaj or go against Nicki Minaj. So that's why people in the industry and in general, like in conversations, were making these women sound equal. You know what I mean? And I guess you can't really blame Cardi for that, but I blame y'all motherfuckers for that. Like why are we mentioning Cardi B and Nicki Minaj in the same sentence? You know? Why are we mentioning them in the same sentence? And Cardi B does a lot of talking to me, but I feel like she's one of them girls, like, I don't know, she's just one of them girls. I feel like she's one of them girls who may not be able to fight. She just talk a lot. And she will fight, but she just talk. Like she is just I don't know. I just don't like her. In the beginning I did when her teeth was crisscross applesauce, but over time she just kind of got weird. Now she want to be a black woman, but is Vlad TV interviews where you're saying like, "Oh, I like interracial relationships with black men, so I don't even date men of my race." So then you acknowledge that you weren't black, but now you're black. Or at first, when you first came out, you was like, "I don't care about writing. Like, I want to get to the shmoney." You made it very clear that rap was one of those things that you didn't really, it was just you just wanted money. I'm a hustler. Like, I'm gonna get to the back. I'm gonna get to the coin. So if I'm a rap, I'm gonna get to the. I don't care about the technicality of rap and writing rhymes. I'm not here to write rhymes. I'm a and that's okay. That's there's a niche for that. Like, okay, that's your lane. You're not a writer girl. And then when people dismiss you as being a writer girl, and we start hyping up other writer girls who push their pen. That's why I'm like, why are y'all comparing her to Nicki? But then when we start hyping up the other writer girls, here she comes. "Well, I write, and now she getting awards for being a writer." Like, but Party Fontaine carried your life. Like, what are you talking about? Like, it just be weird shit like that. Like, she don't get it fucked up. Libras care very much about like what other people think of them and how they're being viewed. That's why she spends so much time on social media, searching her name, checking in with bloggers, seeing what this person think, what that person think, and it's just like I think Nikki is a deal bisexual woman. Hmm. Who's Space Ghost Perp? Who is that? Cardi B is a Sagittarius. Yeah, she is a Sagittarius North Node. I think that's why she stalks Nicki Minaj because Nicki Minaj is. She probably idolizes Nicki Minaj. Honestly, she look up to Nicki Minaj probably, but she just Nicki marked that blick. Yeah, like she's the feature girl. I thought we all agreed upon this. Thoughts on Nicki asking Coy if she's lesbian? Do you think Nicki swing that way? I think Nicki got y'all asses because the Aquarius ascendant. Like, not saying she can't be, but and she does have Gemini in the fifth house. She gives me like I'll have some fun with my man and another person. She don't Nikki don't give me I'ma just chill with a bitch and fuck on a girl. I feel like she plays up that part of her personality because of how flirtatious she is and cunning and all these things. But I don't see Nicki Minaj, and even when she fucking women, she's a pillow princess. She doesn't give me like freaky, I mean, she has Jupiter and Scorpio. She can be very freaky, but I think she like and Jupiter can even deal with like, especially in Scorpio, like dicks, like sperm. I think she like I think she like niggas. If she is bi, I think she likes men more. I don't think she really mess with women like that. I can see Coyle Ray being gay though, or at least bisexual. I'm almost certain of it. I think her accent fake. Lil Kim made the door, Nikki opened it. All the other, I can see it. That's a Libra though, right? Kodak Black made her career. Oh yeah, that is true. Cause that flow that she did. Agreed. Nikki really set the bar so high. There's really no one that could compare. I mean, there are a lot of really good rappers out there that I feel like could rival or compare. They just don't be mainstream. Because there's a very formulaic way of producing a female rapper. She got to have a BBL, and Nicki also kind of set that trend in place, for better or for worse. You got to have a BBL. You got to look like this and look like this, and whatever the case. I mean, I feel like there are women who don't even who exceed those, shallow expectations who still could rival Nicki Minaj. Yeah, she didn't need to be in no there. If anything, I would have been more pleasant or pleasantly surprised with Janae Aiko on the No Love remix. Wouldn't y'all think that'd be a better fit? I bet you actually sing, and that would be like the um the contemporary R&B or the sultry new age R&B trifecta. SZA, Summer, Janae. What's better than that? Cardi B was just out of place. Like, but you did not belong here. But I get it. She wants to send a message like, oh, Cardi B is still popping. Cardi B is still capable of being on the top of the charts, doing these things in between her second album, if she does have a second album to release. So she can still be like a very. I remember that time you was heated when Cardi B said she was gonna start doing terrorism. See that and that it's just like girl, you just be doing shit. That's that Gemini South knows. She just be doing shit, everything. Venus in the 10th house, a beauty indicator. Not necessarily. I mean, in terms of physical beauty, I wouldn't say it's a indicator, especially if it's squaring your ascendant. Because if it's in your 10th house, there is a high chance it could be squaring your ascendant. It could actually be doing the opposite. But it could have a very favorable effect in terms of like your reputation and how people interact and deal with you. Venus in the 10th house can get a lot of respect from people. And it's a really good placement for like work, you know, business wise, making money. Yes. And of course, it depends on how Venus is aspected, but yes, Venus in the first house typically is a beauty indicator. Uh oh. Cardi B needs to live. Huh? And flip flops. Ugly or what are ugly indicators in the birth chart in terms of physical beauty? I would say, excuse me, Saturn in negative aspects to the ascendant could do it. Um, Uranus negatively aspecting the ascendant could do it. Chiron negatively aspecting the ascendant could do it. Or excuse me, having your Venus compromised like that, like Venus and negative aspects to Chiron or Saturn. But sometimes it could also, and like I said, it just depends on like the house placements and things like that, the sign placements, but like or the planetary placements rather. But sometimes it could also just make a person feel ugly too. So sometimes it's not always like definitive. It could be like how I feel. I think it's true. It's absolutely true, Naya. What's your opinion on saying Libra risings are the pretty bitches of the risings? It's pretty factual. Unless, once again, the ascendant is afflicted. Yeah. As a Libra rising, I cosign. I cosign. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like Lotto has a fake ATL accent because I'm from Atlanta and it sounds forced to me. I could see that. I think a lot of people force the Atlanta sound. I'm like, I done lived in Atlanta damn near my whole life, and I like, oh, goddamn, he's time out, goddamn. The most I say is shouty, and people, and that's kind of dated. That's like that's like dated, but goddamn, now don't get me wrong, you know Atlanta accent when you hear it, but I can see a lot of people forcing like goddamn like uh, uh, I'm from goddamn, we got no sticks. God, I want goddamn. I was like, all right, yeah, all right, guys. You're doing a little bit much. I keep seeing on TikTok that Jupiter in the second house is an indicator of wealth. Is this true? It can. Um, Once again, other factors would have to apply, but it's especially if it's positively aspecting Venus. Um, Jupiter in the second house. I mean, can deal with where you're blessed like that, like where, maybe you can find yourself get having an abundance of money. But it could also even deal with where you may be a little bit too wasteful, where you can spend money a little bit too freely. Thank you, baby. What's gonna happen when the sun moves into Taurus? Um, a lot of I think it's gonna activate, especially eventually when it crosses transit and North Node. It's going to activate a lot of those things that I was talking about in my Scorpio South Node live stream, where you know lots of different updates on banks, um, you know, more updates on the recession or the depression, the economy, issues with food, the prices of food could possibly go up higher if that's a thing. You know what I mean? So, excuse me. Mars, positively aspecting like Mars, sextile in the ascendant, Mars, and sextile to Uranus could also give like a sex symbol, like a very like sexy kind of component. Even if you have like Pluto, positively aspecting like your Venus or something like that too. How does Moon and Uranus opposing the ascendant also affect appearance? So if you have your moon in opposition to your ascendant, a lot of times that could produce stomach problems. It could also even deal with issues with like, depending on what signs are involved. It can make a person once again very like unstable. Just being honest, like emotionally unstable, very moody. Um, would you say in terms of appearance, stomach issues, or they can have really round faces, um, things like that. I've also noticed too sometimes there could be identity problems. So like maybe they could be kind of insecure about either their skin color. Uranus in opposition to the ascendant could also make both excuse me, moon and Uranus. I'm tripping. In opposition to the ascendant can produce weight problems too. Weight problems, problems with the ankle. Look wise, it could also cause you to look kind of sloppy or dirty sometimes, especially like your hair. Like Moon and Uranus in opposition to the ascendant, like a person with that would probably have like them big old like freeform locks. Hmm. Damn, that's me. Gemini Moon opposing. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And the moon is your personality too. So with the opposing your ascendant, that's kind of what you what you lead with. And so you could be somebody too, especially if you also have Uranus opposing your ascendant, that could be unpredictable. What can Uranus and Pisces opposing Jupiter in the first house? And thank you for the super chat. What can Uranus and Pisces opposing Jupiter in the first house give? Go back up to it. It could do where, you're too giving, where you sacrifice too much, or where people you kind of expect people to take care of you, or people kind of, drop things to come save you and come help you out, or you could be a captain save a hull yourself. J. Cole is so mysterious. Does anyone know anything about him? That's because of his Scorpio South Node. He's an Aquarius Sun, Scorpio South Node. I think he also has Saturn conjoined in his South Node. You should be experiencing his nodal return. I think he's a chronic cheater. So let's go ahead and take a look. I don't feel like what you call him. Let me go ahead and see if I can pull up his chart. But he's just one of those people who kind of plays his hand close to his chest. This time, won't you save me? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So he was born on January 28th, 1985. I doubt they know his exact. I mean, they don't have his time of birth listed, so we'll have to take the ascendant with a grain of salt. Yeah, he's a Scorpio South Node. That's why he's so introspective. He also has his Venus and Pisces. That kind of made me think about too, because y'all know that album he dropped. I mean, of course, that could deal with him being an excellent musician, especially with the trining Saturn. But and it's sextiling his North Node, so that's definitely him being an excellent musician. And having a really good ear for music. But he had made a album. I forgot what it was called, but it was about drug addiction, and it was actually bomb from beginning to end, no skips. It had the "Will I fall or will I fly? I fulfill my high." Count it up, count it up, count it up, count it. And fell in love with photographs. I don't even know her name. But point is, the whole point of the album was talking about like drugs and drug use, and so I'm like, he does have his Venus in Pisces. That may be something that he's speaking out of, like by experience, by way of experience, especially with his Venus square Neptune like that, or maybe he's dated someone. He said his mama, had some issues with that too. He does have moon in opposition to Pluto. S- Um, but honestly, I don't really see it. I think he could have been talking about personal experience. Yep, he also has Mars square Neptune. He probably dealt with addiction or substance abuse. I can see it. And yeah, I can see where he's dealing with other women. Venus square Neptune too. That could point towards that. Moon in opposition to Pluto. So he could be into some other stuff. He just, he stays out the way. KOD, yeah. It was one of his best albums. I agree. I agree. Yes, Venus in conjunction of Pluto can bring in lots of money, especially unearned income. And it could be good for like sweepstakes and stuff like that. You might get lucky. Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the live here. I just wanted to stop by. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for joining me. And y'all enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'll holler at y'all later. Bye.